Hey everybody, Dustin Dale's back here once again. I'm at the Funny Bone Comedy Club, 168th and Dodge, Upper Deck. You can't miss it. It's right by the movie theater. You definitely want to come out here this weekend because this weekend we've got an alum from Comedy Central. He's on Crank Yankers. He's one of the big hits of Crank Yankers. Plus he's on VH1's That Metal Show. All sorts of great stuff. We'll be chatting with him about that right now. Please welcome Jim Florentine.
How's it going, man?
Pretty good. How are you doing?
Good, man. Everything's good.
Good, good. Now, when was the last time you were in Omaha?
Probably a year ago. I do like every July, which is good. I love coming here. Crowds are great. This is one of my favorite clubs in the country. They just come in here ready to laugh. They're not too PC. You know what I mean? They're just like, just make me laugh. I had a long day. I like it. Blue collar. They don't judge everything, which is beautiful. Then again, watch this show. They'll be groaning at everything. So
That's true.
You never know.
Yeah. Well, one of the shows I was introduced to you from Crank Yankers. That was a big show, and when I first found out that you had two characters that were very famous on there.
Yeah, Bobby Fletcher and Special Ed. Yeah.
Yeah, those were some of my favorite characters. How did you get involved in that show?
I just had a CD out where I was messing with telemarketers, and I was doing those characters on my CD. And when they were looking for people to do prank calls for the show, I just mailed my stuff into the show. And they just, said, hey, man, we want you to be part of it. So it was great. I was like the only pretty much the unknown comic at the time to be on the show. It was, Jimmy Kimmel, Adam Carolla was their show, and they had Sarah Silverman, Dave Attell, Dennis Leary, Dave Chappelle, Tracy Morgan. So, I was plucked out of obscurity pretty much. And, it really made my career. It took off from there, which was great.
Yeah, it's definitely not a bad show to be on with those names. I mean, all those guys now are heavy hitters, and you're one of those names now.
Yeah, well, I don't have their kind of money, but it's good though.
That's true.
No, it was great, man. It gave me massive exposure, which was great.
Did you ever think when you're getting into comedy that like the telemarketing angle would be the one that would take off your career?
I had no idea. I just did it because I was bored and I was home during the day and I had nothing to do, so I would just wait for telemarketers to call, and I'd tape record them and just torture them because I just worked at night as a comic. And I just made a CD up. I figured I'd just sell it after shows or whatever, And then all of a sudden the show came along. I go, all right, I'll just mail it and see what happened. I had no idea. No clue at all.
Now, one thing I thought was pretty cool, Eminem got wind of your stuff, and he gave you a call. What was that like getting that call from Eminem?
Yeah, well, he was a fan of the show. He basically put the show on the map. We did one season. We didn't get good ratings. It was probably going to get canceled. We weren't sure. And then all of a sudden he became a fan of the show. We caught wind, and he did a whole thing on the movie awards, special ed thing, and then he wanted to be on the show. So it was all of a sudden we were, next thing I know, I'm in his studio in Detroit doing calls with him, because he used to watch it with his daughter. And that was like their favorite show together. She's like, Dad, I want you to be on that show. And he's like, all right, I'll be on it. So it was great for us.
Very nice. Now, that's not your only connection to the music business. You opened for Slayer, and I understand that was some of the craziest shows that you've ever done.
Yeah, I mean, you're playing in an arena, 17,000 people. They don't want to hear a comic. Especially when you have to go. I had to go on 3 different times in between each band. There was 3 bands, so I had to do like 5 minutes in between each band. The first time they'll give you the benefit of the doubt. It's early. The venue's only a third full, 7 o'clock. But the second time, like, okay, dude. And then by the third time, like, enough. All right, we get it. You do jokes. Just get off the stage. Because the crowd, they get unruly. It's almost like the local DJ on stage just babbling. The crowd's like, all right, just shut up, bring the band on. The crowd actually thinks that I'm taking time away from the band by doing my jokes. So I wasn't. It's, there's a set schedule. Right. And I would tell them, I go, look, I got to be up here for 5 minutes whether you guys like it or not. I go take a leak, go get a beer, whatever you got to do. But I got to do my time. Yeah, it was rough, but I liked it. I liked that.
Is that probably some of the hardest crowds you've ever done?
Probably, but I just like, whatever. I almost like getting booed. I'm like, I just yell back at them, so just to annoy them.
Now, this week going on right now is the Republican National Convention, and you have a relationship with Donald Trump. You're actually on The Apprentice. What's it like thinking that that guy might be the next president?
Yeah, I mean, I didn't meet him the day when I was on, but I did meet him other times. I've done some charity stuff for him and stuff. Who knows? I mean, one thing he did is he broke down a lot of walls, so maybe in 4 or 8 years from now or something, somebody else could come out of nowhere and win the election, which is good. You never thought that. It was always somebody that had been ingrained in the system for 20 years, and that was the choice we had. So he's actually broke down a lot of walls, whether he gets whether he's our next president or not. So I like that he did that, because we in 4 years somebody could come out that's going to be amazing that we would never think would ever be a president. So, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But yeah, it's been fun. It's fun watching. I love watching all the coverage.
Was there a moment in this campaign that really stuck out to you?
Look, I think that he struck a nerve with a lot of people that are just tired of being politically correct and not saying what's on their mind. Everyone walking around on eggshells their whole life, everything. I don't know. I'm not afraid. I can't say this. I can't say that. And he finally be like, yeah, that's the guy. Thank God. He's saying it almost happens in the comedy club too. They're so programmed at work, wherever they are, not to laugh at some joke that might be a little inappropriate or whatever, or say something that might be like, ooh, I better not say that. Post it on Facebook because they'll get fired. So they come to a comedy club and go, thank God I can laugh here. I'm not at work. It's dark. I have a couple drinks. I'm allowed to. So I think that's Trump, pretty much hit that audience out there.
Very true. Very true. And Kanye made a comment recently. He said that he's interested in running for president. If Kanye West was president, what would be your first thought?
The guy's a joke. He doesn't, the guy's a drama queen, a narcissist. He loves himself, and his music's awful.
Do you think he has a chance?
No, but he doesn't. He's not even that popular. He thinks he is. Little kids like him for until they realize that his music's horrible and they wind up liking something better. So no, he's got no shot. Trump's been around a long time. Trump's been a brand name since the '80s. So he's not going to do that. He just says stuff to just try to get a reaction.
That's probably true.
Yeah, that's all he does.
We'll see.
He's married to Kim Kardashian, and he's just looking for attention.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Now, people can keep in touch with you by your podcast. You do a podcast a lot.
I do a podcast once a week. It's free. It's up on iTunes. Comedy Metal Midgets, it's called. And I just rant about different stuff, whatever's going on.
Very nice.
Pokimane or whatever that crap. I
What?
haven't hit that one yet. I'll do that this week.
Have you played the game at all?
No, I'm over 16. So why would I? You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm not a 16-year-old kid, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
You're not a 16-year-old kid. I
just I never played games before. I don't know. I don't just jump on bandwagons, whatever's going on. This reminds me of the Ice Bucket Challenge. Everybody was in it because everybody's like, oh, is that what everybody's doing? Okay, then I'll do it. And then Pokimane, is that what everybody's doing? And in 2 weeks, no one's going to talk about Pokimane anymore.
It's probably true.
Because because it won't be cool anymore. So you're still playing Pokimane? Oh my God, I gave that up a week ago. Okay, then I got to give it up. That's what I don't like. Everybody has to follow trends. What is everybody doing now? Okay, then I'll do it. I could see if you're young and you want to fit in, you know what I mean? If I was in high school, I'd be doing it too if everybody's talking about it. I want to talk to the girls, so I have something to relate to. Because when growing up, I just knew about heavy metal. So I would go up to girls and go, hey, can you believe Slayer might break up? And they're like, get away from me, you weird. I don't even know what you're talking about. So if a Pokimane was around, I'm like, oh, I caught one over there by the field over there. You want to go take a walk? And then maybe we can make out.
There you go. Yeah. Pokemon, the dating app. I like it.
Yeah, and I hear a lot of single people, young people, it's good because they're hooking up, they're meeting people and stuff. So it's good for that. But yeah, I'm a grown man. I got a house. I'm not playing Pokimane. I got other issues. I got a leaky roof. I'm not playing a game on my phone.
Yeah, leaky roof definitely takes precedent.
Yeah.
Now, people can also catch a special that you just put out about a month ago.
Yeah, it's called I'm Your Savior. It was a one-man show I did. It's up on iTunes and on my website, JimFlorentine.com. You can download it. You can watch it, stream it for $5 or whatever. So I'm Your Savior, yeah.
And I got one more question. Are we going to see that metal show return at all?
No.
No?
It's done. Yeah.
Okay.
But it was a good run. We had I worked on Crank Yankers. I worked on Inside the NFL. When you get a gig, it's almost like when you get a head coaching job as a sports guy, eventually you're going to get fired. It's just you might as well ride it out and have fun while it lasts because eventually everybody gets fired. So, that's what happens, TV shows. But we were on the air for 8 years, so you can't complain.
Was that job a dream come true?
Yeah, it was amazing, yeah. I get paid, I would ask those questions. I would work for that show for free, you know what I mean, because I'm a big metalhead, so it was like I didn't have to do any research. So it was fun while it lasted, so.
Well, very cool. I appreciate hanging out with me for a bit. How can people keep in touch with you on social media?
I try to stay away from it, You know what? Go to awfulfacebookposts.com. I have a website where I make fun of people's bad Facebook posts. You can watch clips of me. Making fun of them. Like people say, Mother Nature, please go away. I'm like, I don't think Mother Nature's going to see that on your Facebook page. I looked at your friends, and she's not following you, so I don't know how she would see it. You know what I mean?
I think I've seen a few of those bad
right,
Facebook.
Yeah, but I don't know how that would get back to Mother Nature. You know what I mean? Like, unless somebody that knew Mother Nature was like, hey, there's some guy in Omaha saying you better go away, you should go check out his page. So I don't know. I don't think all that's going on.
Right.
Probably not.
Probably
so
not.
That's what I make fun of, yeah.
Well, make sure you check out his podcast that he's got going on. Plus, make sure you come out to the Funny Bone this weekend. He's going to be here all weekend long performing. Definitely don't want to miss his show. 168th and Dodgers, Village Point Mall, Jim Florentine. Thank you very much for hanging out with me,
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Yeah, thanks.
Take care, guys.